Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Gizelle recalls feeling controlled in marriage to Jamal, never doing that again. On Bravo's Love Hotel, Gizelle's date Phil admitted he had previous issues with communication and control. The housewives staying at Bravo's Love Hotel know what they want from their men, and they're not afraid to let them know. In the debut season's episode 6, Love concierge Joel Kim Booster invited those closest to the women to join them at the hotel and meet the host of single men. The featured guests then chose one man for a group date, and in the case of the Real Housewives of Potomac's Gizelle Bryant, her friend and hairstylist, Cal, selected the fashionable and smooth lay-based Phil for a romantic outing. However, while on a culinary date to make tres leches cake, Gizelle wanted to ensure Phil wasn't too controlling, something Gizelle had experienced with her former husband, Jamal Bryant. Gizelle's face said it all when Phil confessed that, in the past, he encountered communication problems and issues with me being more controlling. In response, Gizelle referred to the Phil movie and admitted that she very much lived Jamal's life instead of her own. Once divorced, Gizelle knew, "Well, I'm never doing that again," she told her date. "I am not here to be controlled," Gizelle said in her confessional. "Now can you change? Can you let that go? Can you grow from that? Can you not be that anymore? I actually don't know." Cal wondered how the pair could bring this together, since both were putting their vulnerability and transparency on the table. Phil and Gizelle agreed on what they both needed. "I'm only going to open this up to someone that I feel I can trust, and the only way you build trust is through communication, spending time together, being open and honest with you," Phil told the housewife. "You know with each other." Earlier that day, Cal picked Phil after meeting both him and the mild-mannered oral surgeon, Theo, stating, "Phil is the one," although it was clear they both wanted something more. "Phil is a catch. Phil is a great guy," Gizelle emphatically said, "but Cal is extremely protective of me. He wants to be sure that anyone I'm with is extremely transparent, because there might be some things that this person is not saying that will come out later that can be completely detrimental to the relationship." It was through Gizelle's ex-husband that the longtime friends originally met, and Gizelle took his words to heart. Following the three-person date, Cal admitted things seemed a little rocky between Gizelle and Phil. "Now I'm looking at Phil with a different lens, like, okay, you've been playing it safe. You're trying to edit yourself so that I don't send you home," Gizelle told Cal. "And I don't want that." It left the potential relationship in the air, though love is still in the air for some. In Season 1, Episode 6, the Real Housewives of New York City's Luann de Lesseps was surprised to see the Real Housewives of Atlanta's Cynthia Bailey show up to pick Mark for her date. The daughters of the Real Housewives of Orange County's Shannon Storms, Beater selected Earl the Pearl for their mom, and Ashley Darby's friend, Brant, chose Ralph for the Potomac housewife. It was a surefire way to shake things up at Bravo's Love Hotel for the women with high standards. In the meantime, don't miss why Ashley admitted to Bravo's The Daily Dish that things between her and Gizelle had changed quite a bit since arriving at Bravo's weight Love in the Hotel. Way Gizelle speaks about her past marriage to Jamal. It's not just the words themselves, controlled, trapped, lost, but the way she carries them, like echoes of a story that still lingers in the corners of her heart. Sitting across from me in a softly lit cafe, her eyes reflect a complex blend of regret, resilience, and newfound clarity. "I'm never doing that again," she says firmly, voice steady yet underscored with emotion. "I felt like I was living someone else's life, not my own." For Gizelle, the marriage to Jamal began with all the promise one might hope for, a spark of passion, shared dreams, the intoxicating rush of new love. "At first, it was perfect," she recalls with a wistful smile. "We were a team. I thought we were building something real." But as time passed, that perfect picture began to crack, revealing the unseen forces that would ultimately suffocate her spirit. The word controlled surfaces repeatedly in her narrative. "It's subtle at first," she explains. "Little things. Where I went, who I talked to, how I spent my time. What felt like caring concerns slowly morphed into an invisible cage. He'd tell me I was overreacting, that I was being too sensitive when I pushed back, but inside I was shrinking, losing myself piece by piece." Gizelle's story is a stark reminder of how control in a relationship rarely arrives as an obvious demand or loud confrontation. Instead, it often creeps in with quiet commands and emotional manipulation, restrictions disguised as protection, choices framed as compromises. It was like walking on a tightrope, she says, trying not to upset him, trying to keep the peace, while all the while, my own voice was fading. Looking back, Gizelle recognizes the warning signs she ignored or rationalized. I told myself it was love. That love means sacrifice. But sacrifice, she now knows, is a two-way street, not a one-sided surrender. When I finally saw how much I was giving up, how much of my freedom was being taken away, I knew I had to change. Her decision to leave Jamal was not easy. It felt like jumping off a cliff, she confesses. Scary, uncertain, but necessary. The aftermath was a storm of emotions, grief, relief, confusion, and a deep, aching loneliness. Yet within that chaos, Gizelle found the seeds of her rebirth. I started to reclaim myself, she says, eyes shining with determination, rediscovering my passions, my friends, my dreams. It was like waking up from a long, dark sleep. She emphasizes how important it is to recognize control when it hides behind love's mask. If something feels like it's draining your spirit, it probably is. Gizelle's story resonates far beyond her own experience. It's a narrative many women find painfully familiar, a silent battle between love and autonomy. Control is a form of abuse, she asserts, her voice unwavering. It doesn't have to be physical to be harmful. The emotional chains can be just as tight, just as damaging. She has since become an advocate for others caught in similar struggles. I want women to know they are not alone, that their feelings matter, that their freedom matters. She speaks at local community centers, sharing her journey and encouraging others to speak their truth. It's about breaking the cycle. Looking ahead, Gizelle is hopeful. I've learned to trust myself again, to set boundaries, to love without losing who I am, she smiles warmly. I'm never doing that again, not because I don't believe in love, but because I believe in respect, in partnership. Her story is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the courage it takes to reclaim one's life. It's a call to listen carefully to our own hearts and to stand firm in the face of control, no matter how subtle or disguised. As our conversation ends, Gizelle's words linger in the air, a reminder that love should never cost us our freedom. If you feel controlled, she urges, don't ignore it. Don't justify it. Find your way out because you deserve to live fully, free, strong, and unapologetically yourself.